Hello, everyone. I'm Esperanza Walsh, and this is Art from the Heart, St. Augustine's Church. And we're going to do art involving layering and stippling today. And we will try to achieve this landscape. Okay, so let's start. The first thing we need would be our A4 sheet of watercolor paper. And then we need to get a big brush, our biggest brush, and we're going to paint almost the whole page with water, except for an area here which is shaped almost like a J. So let me just paint the top part with water. So let me just go through that. And you might not see it right now because we're just painting it with water, but later on, once the colors are painted on the paper, you would see what I mean by that shape, which is almost like a J. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do is just to paint some blue watercolor on top. Yes, we have that. And then I'm going to get my biggest brush, load it with some water, and just spread this blue paint until about half the page. There we go. So let me just paint the sides like that to make sure that we don't miss any area. And then again, left and right, so that it looks more even. And now we go to the next color, which is violet or purple. And that is going to be in the shape of a mountain. So let me see if no, I haven't cleaned my brush. Let me just rinse it. And then I'm going to paint it with some violet. So let me just paint it in the shape of a mountain over here, right on top of the blue paint. So, and then I am going to paint some, like a smaller mountain here on the other side. Yes, there we go. And then I'm going to paint this area with water to make sure that the transition is smooth. Okay, and the next thing I'm gonna do is to paint this area and this area with green mixed with lemon yellow. Okay. Okay, I think my paper has dried up a bit, so I have to paint it with water again to make sure that the paint flows smoothly. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. There we go. And also in this area. So that we can create some sort of an effect which is like a flat wash with different colors. Okay, there we go, perfect. And we have to do that on the other side as well. Okay, we're doing very well. So we're mixing the colors. Yes, we don't have to be we don't have to be particular with the direction of the paint since it's going to spread by itself. However, we have to ensure that we paint it within the wet area. So if it's beyond the wet area, we either have to use a brush to lift the paint or a kitchen towel. And that is because we have to save the space to create our body of water. So now I'm going to paint this area red, like a small hill. Yes, or maybe a shrub. Now the red is going to mix with the light green color, so it's going to have some sort of a brownish effect. And on this side, I'm going to paint something like a hill as well. Maybe stipple a little bit to make it look more natural. Maybe just a little bit there. And then just let the paint spread by itself and then let it dry. So again, this paint should not be too concentrated. So there's a certain dilution to make it light. And now it's time to let it dry. Oh, by the way, do you see the J shape that I was referring to earlier? It should be visible now, and it should be the part of the paper which remains white. Our paper is now almost as dry as we want it to be. So we can start by creating the trees in the background. So before we do that, I want to make this mountain look more prominent. So what I'm gonna do is just to get some more purple paint and just paint like this. Just to make sure that the mountain can be seen. So a little bit feathering done. And now we can see the mountain. Now I will be using some of my green paint with yellow ochre to create another mountain here. Okay. Okay. I am trying to get some balance here because I think this mountain is too round. So I think that's better. Let me see. I may be a little bit fatter. Okay, that's better. So that's better. I can now see the two mountains at the back. And the next thing I would like to paint would be some trees in the background. So with that, I'm just going to get some diluted black paint and just paint some trees over here. And then do a little bit of stippling to soften it. Okay, so just dab the brush on your paper. And then maybe another one here. And then I'm going to do the same thing again, just dabbing the brush to make it look more natural. Fantastic. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's do that. I'm going to move this a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Just mark where I should be putting the leaves. A little bit of stippling. Again, that's dabbing the paint on my paper. Oh, fantastic. And then another tree here. Again, the same. Fantastic. So now I have 4 trees. Now we need dark green paint. So that's my regular green paint mixed with a little bit of black paint. So it would be similar to this one's, but a little bit more green. Okay, let's try. So I have this, yes, it's similar to those. And this one is a little bigger because it's supposed to appear closer to the viewer. Again, we do the same thing, just a little bit of stippling or dabbing of our brush on the paper. Perfect. And maybe one more over here. Okay. So again, the same thing, dabbing our brush. Oh, wow, that's turning out pretty well. And then maybe one more tree on this side, just to give it some balance. Balance is very important. So here we have maybe a little bit bigger than that one. And then again, we start stippling at the top. Oh, perfect. There we go. Oh, just beautiful. Okay, wow. Yes, I can see the trees, but we aren't finished. We also need some shrubs and some other sort of plants like grass and all. So we have to add some of those. There we go. Wow, they're doing pretty well. Maybe here. Fantastic. So now we need the lighter color grass. I mean, shrubs. We haven't reached the part where we are growing the grasses. So here are some shrubs. Okay, so maybe I'll do another one here. Oops, that went out of the paper, but that's all right. We are doing a very good job. Now it's time for the grasses. So I am just going to paint this dry on dry. So we are going to put some grass here, just like that. Not too thin for this layer. And yes, you've heard me right, for this layer. And that is because we are going to paint additional layers for the grass. Fantastic. So we now have a lot of stuff on the paper. Now I'm going to get some yellow ochre. And this would be for our grass. So I'm just going to paint some straight lines on top of the initial paint that we did for the grass. So just straight lines, again, dry and dry. Perfect. Yes. So we've now marked where the grass are going to be. Now the next bit is the body of water. So this is the body of water, and I want it to be really dynamic. So the first thing is I'm going to paint this area with the diluted black paint. Then left and right in different thickness, I'm going to paint left and right. And also in different intensity of the color. So I start here again. And then I do the same thing again. So this part, which is further up, would be much, much darker. And as it comes closer, it becomes lighter. So this is what we have for now. Perfect. We're on the right track. And the next thing I am going to paint is the main feature, the main tree. Now, for our main tree, I want it to be a dark green tree, but really dark. Probably darker than this, more green as well. So I am going to mix black with my green paint. Okay, let me just get some more black paint. Yes, this is what we're using for our class. And I'm going to get some lemon yellow as well for the highlights. There we go. And in case we need to mix it with some of our green paint. So that would be our paint. Let me just mix. Beautiful. Then some black. Okay, and then I just need some water because it's now still quite thick. Okay. So what I'm going to do is to paint the tree from this point to this point. So it's going to be a big tree. Like that. With the thicker trunk. And then I am going to mark the areas with the leaves. And I would have to work fast to ensure that I add the leaves before it dries. So working on it. And there we go. Doing really well. Fantastic. Wow. Okay, we've done our tree. Okay, let me just make the trunk thicker. And let me just spread the paint at the bottom with water so that the transition looks more natural. There we go. Fantastic. Now, we need some other items in this bed of water. For example, some rocks. Yeah, I'm gonna paint some rocks using some brown paint. Earlier, someone asked me if we should use burnt sienna or burnt umber. Either one would do, because what is important would be what would come after. That would be the shadows painted with black, and that would be really, really important. Okay, there we go. Yes, we have very nice rocks on the bed. And now we would need some black paint. Let me just add water to that. That would be perfect. And now we're going to add the detail. This is the important bit I was telling you about. So again, we have to identify where the sunlight is coming from. So I would say it's from here, going this way. So that means my shadow would be here, the bottom. So it will be darker in this area. And then also there. And also there. Okay, now maybe here. Okay, let me just turn this around so I can see the rocks and all of the other items in the art piece. Okay, now I'm just going to make some random shapes here. I'm just going to spread the black paint which are on my rocks. Yes, just to make it look more balanced. And then I'm going to put some shadows on the water. Yeah, and I do that just by spreading the black paint. I'm not adding anything, I'm just spreading it. There we go. Well, beautiful. So now we have the rocks in the water. Next thing is I want to put some highlights on the grass. So I would need to turn it a bit so I can see what's going on. And yes, so I'm just going to put some black paint, really thin lines here as well. Fantastic. And maybe here at the bottom of the tree, just some grass. And then here as well. And then here. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so far this is what we have. And what do we think is missing? I think it's the shadows. So we will be working on the shadows now. And for that, I need to turn this sideways. And again, the sun, if the sun is coming from this area, going that way, okay, I first need to dilute my black paint so that I can give these items here shadows in the direction of the sunlight. And then here, this is the shadow of my tree. Well, shadow of part of my tree. And let's see. Let's see if we need to add more shadows. No, we've done everything. We now have our landscape. And we've used a lot of stippling, some feathering as well, layering, what we've learned from previous sessions. So we've used a lot of the stuff we've learned previously. So we are able to paint this landscape. I think it's very nice. And I enjoyed painting it. And I hope you did too. And in our next session, we're going to do more of this feathering and stippling and related techniques. So see you again next time. And I hope you did enjoy, and I hope you enjoy more of our sessions. Thank you very much.